Hi, I'm Elijah, and welcome back to another Kenco webcast, your #1 source for information on labeling and pricing products. Today, I'll be showing you how to properly load and maintain your Monarch 1115 series handheld label gun. If you find this video to be helpful, please click the like button below. Before we begin, let's familiarize ourselves with several key components of the gun. Let's pick up the gun with our left hand and take a look at the top. Right away, you'll notice the label housing assembly. On each side of the housing assembly is a circular disc that holds the label roll and relieves friction when the gun is properly loaded. The black cradle on top of the housing assembly will help secure and feed your labels into the gun. You'll notice a gap in the top of the cradle. This is where you will thread your labels through in the beginning of the loading process. You will also see the print head, adjustment dials, and nip rollers. The nip rollers will help apply the label to your product. On each side of the gun, you will find a latch. These latches will open up the upper housing assembly. Let's pull both of those latches towards the back of the gun and lift the upper housing assembly so we can take a peek inside. Up above, you will see the ink roller assembly. I'll be talking more about the ink roller assembly later on. On the left side of the gun, you will find the print alignment knob. This will be used to adjust the horizontal printing position. On the front of the gun, we will again see the nip rollers, and below that, a black pressure plate and several black rollers. On the bottom of the gun, you will notice a flat area between the bottom roller and the trigger. This is where we will feed the labels into the advancing mechanism. When you squeeze the trigger, you'll notice a window in the trigger's place. You'll be able to see the label lining here when the gun is properly loaded. Now that we are more familiar with the various components, let's learn how to quickly and properly load the Monarch 1115 series labeler. Let's start by taking a roll of labels and placing it into the label housing assembly until it locks into place. Be sure to have the roll winding over the top and toward the front of the gun. These blank labels, in assorted colors, can be custom printed with your information and are available through Kenco. Let's secure the two sides of the black cradle on the sides of the label roll. The cradle should ease into its place. Now, let's take the end of the label roll and thread it through that gap in the top of the cradle that we talked about earlier. Now we're going to bring the labels right down against the arch of the cradle, and while squeezing the trigger halfway with our left hand, we'll feed the labels into the gun until there's about 4 inches coming out of the front of the gun. Next, let's flip the gun and feed the labels under the black pressure plate and pull them down towards the trigger. Turning the label roll counterclockwise will remove any excess lining below the pressure plate. Now, we'll need to remove a few labels from the liner before we feed the labels into the advancing mechanism. A quick and easy way to do this is to squeeze the trigger halfway and pull the label strip down until you've separated about 6 or 7 labels. Next, let's tear the label lining to remove the other labels so we have a nice clean start, and then we'll flip the gun to the bottom. Let's feed the labels into the advancing mechanism right over that black arrow while continuously squeezing the trigger until we meet resistance and the liner comes tightly around the front of the gun. You should be able to see the liner in that window in the trigger's place. Now that the gun is properly loaded, we will learn how to adjust the price. Now I'm going to show you how to adjust the dials on the print head. With the back of the gun facing you, we'll use our right hand to hold the gun and our left hand to grab the top adjustment dial. Let's change the bands to our desired price by turning the adjustment dial. To move to the next set of digits, simply pull the adjustment dial and the adjustment indicator will follow you to the digit you are currently adjusting. When you have finished adjusting the top adjustment dial, let's push it back into the print head and we'll move to the bottom dial. When you have finished adjusting the bottom adjustment dial, be sure to push the adjustment dial back into the print head and you're all set. Now that we know how to properly load and adjust the Monarch 1115 label gun, let's learn how to change the ink roller. The first thing we need to do is pull on the latches on both sides of the gun to open the upper housing assembly. Now we'll need to release the old ink roller. Let's take a strip of clear label lining and fold it in half. Now we'll wind it around the ink roller, hold on to both ends firmly, and pull the ink roller out of the ink roller assembly. Once the ink roller is removed, we will get a replacement ink roller with its packaging and snap it right onto the ink roller assembly on both sides. Additional ink rollers can be purchased from kencostore.com. Now I'm going to show you how to adjust the print location. For this part of the tutorial, we're going to need one standard American quarter or penny. I'm going to use a quarter. Let's take the quarter with our left hand, push the knob into the gun, and turn the print alignment knob clockwise. Be sure to push the knob into the gun, because if the knob is not pushed in while adjusting, the adjustment will only hold for a few labels and will then revert back to its previous position. I suggest that you start with one click, dispense 4 or 5 labels to test your adjustment, and then turn it again as needed, so you don't do too much at once. Continue turning the print alignment knob until the print is 1/16 of an inch from the right side of the label. This allows the label to dispense properly onto your product. Now that it's printing perfectly, we are ready to begin labeling. To label an item, simply pick up the gun, squeeze and release the trigger once, hold the price gun directly over the product, then just roll the label on your product and you're all done. This has been another Kenco webcast. For more information and outstanding prices on these products, visit us on the web today at www.kencostore.com or call us toll free at 1-800-86-KENCO. For more product videos and tutorials like this, go to www.kenco.tv.